Once upon a time, Shiva, the ascetic, detached from material life, said that everything in the world is Maya, an illusion, including food. In response, Annapurna, who is the form of the divine that represents food, withdrew. And immediately the world changed. There was no food, no nourishment. People weakened. Even spiritual practice declined because the body could not sustain it. Shiva himself felt hunger. And in that moment, something became very clear. Food is not illusion, it's the basis of life. And more than that, food has to be shared. It has to be grown, given, received. Because the moment that flow stops, life stops. That's where the idea of Akshaya begins to make sense. A means not, Shaya means depletion. So Akshaya means that which does not deplete, that which continues because it is sustained and shared. In the stories around this day, this idea shows up again and again. There's another story of Sudama, a poor Brahmin who went one day to meet his childhood friend Krishna carrying a bundle of poha. Krishna received that small offering with joy. And when Sudama returned home, he saw that his hut had become a home. His family was provided for, and his life had quietly changed. Because when something, even if it is something small, is given with a full heart, it doesn't just stay there. It becomes part of a cycle and often comes back in a larger way. There's the story of Draupadi. When the Pandavas were living in exile, she had to feed sages and guests with very little resources. One day, the sage Durvasa arrived with his disciples and she had to provide food for them. But the vessel was empty. Draupadi prayed to Krishna for help. Krishna came. He looked into the vessel and found a single grain stuck to the side. He ate that one grain and said, "Now I am satisfied." And in that moment, the situation resolved. The vessel became Akshaya, not because it was overflowing, but because even one grain, when complete, was enough. Then there's Kuber. He is known as the Lord of Wealth, but not because he spends it. Kuber is the keeper of wealth. His role is to hold it, organize it, and distribute it correctly. Wealth, in that sense, is not personal enjoyment, it's responsibility. And it only remains Akshaya when it is used and shared with awareness. That's why the traditional practices of this day are so specific. Grain is given because it supports life over time. Water is given because it supports life immediately. Food is shared because it restores life in that moment. Even feeding a Brahmin traditionally meant supporting knowledge, the flow of knowledge, ensuring that learning, memory, and tradition continue, a form of Akshaya. Yes, gold is bought on this day, but gold by itself doesn't become Akshaya. What does is how it is held. What you hold, money, food, time, attention, is meant to support something beyond just you. And when you start to see it this way, your relationship with what you have starts to change. You become more aware of what is enough, of what needs to be held, and what needs to flow. If you want to take something simple from this day, you can sit with it and meditate on these following points. Vishnu as the sustainer. Ask yourself, what in my life needs to be preserved, not changed? What is already right, already stable, already enough? The idea of enough. What does enough feel like for me right now? Where am I chasing excess instead of resting in sufficiency? The flow of giving and receiving. Where am I holding too tightly? Where can I allow giving and receiving to happen more naturally? Wealth as responsibility. What do I hold that is meant to be used well, not just kept? And then finally, think about the Akshaya principle. What, if nurtured quietly, will keep growing without depletion? You don't have to answer all of this today. It's just a way of looking, and maybe that's what makes something Akshaya. Join me in the next episode as I keep exploring these small, everyday ritual insights and what we can actually do with them.